Welcome to That VidBlaster Guy. I'm Tom Sinclair, your host for the show today, and delighted to be with you. Got a really exciting show today. Can't wait to talk about our new VidBlaster giveaway contest, so stay tuned for details on that. And have got two guys kind of warming up in the green room over there that are going to be our guests today, Mike Phillips and Amnon Nissan. Mike with Computers 2K Now and Rick's House, and Amnon with a variety of shows that he produces, as well as one that he stars in himself, Computers 2K Now. We'll get those guys up in just a second. Really excited. They're going to talk about the new call screening software from BlogTalkRadio that they are using on their show, and actually demonstrate it on this show and allow you to call in. So in a little bit, we'll be flashing a number up on the screen. If you're watching us live, it'll work. But if you're watching us on YouTube, don't call in. It'll probably be the middle of the night, and you'll wake one of them up, and they'll never come on the show again. So let's don't do that. But we'll get there in just a second. I had hoped to be able to give you an exciting announcement about VidBlaster today, but I can't. The cat is not ready to get out of the bag. I was putting my ear to the ground. You know how you can put your ear to the ground and you can hear the approaching horses? Well, I thought I heard horses approaching. And I thought, we're getting ready for the big reveal of the new HD optimized VidBlaster in version, what would it be? 2.34 or 3.8 or 4.2 or whatever it would be now. But alas, that is not yet time for that. So I'm getting some messages here from my guys. Guys, what's the problem there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Your video, are you looking at it online? It's said,
I'm not looking at it online.
Now we see you okay, but your video that goes out is, what is it?
Anti-anamorphic.
Anti-anamorphic.
You're wide.
It's wide.
Stretched.
It's not right.
Okay. We're just going to bring these guys in. They're just going to interrupt the middle of my monologue. What's the use of having a great spontaneous monologue if you've got people that interrupt? Amnon, Mike, welcome to the show. What is it that just couldn't wait?
That was it. Now the picture is okay. But look in the chat. Everybody
in the chat is saying, no, I don't see anybody in the chat.
Anamorphic? Is it only me? Looks like David online too. No, it's not only you trying to be nice.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can't fix it. Sometimes when we have things that go wrong, Skype tends to like to change things around a little bit. So we'll do just a quick. If it were a baby, we would be burping the baby. We're going to burp the baby right here. So if you're watching live, refresh your browser.
This one looks okay, Tom. That picture of the 3 looks okay, but go back to yours.
I think he's got it now.
Okay. We're good to go here, guys.
It's good.
Okay.
All right. Well, so much for this great, really, cool beginning where I show you guys how savvy I am and just have everything under control. And some people you have to be careful when you invite them on your show. And, you have to just be cautious because you just never know what's going to be said. Coming up after this interview, we're going to talk about the VidBlaster giveaway. But I'll give you just a little hint is that it will involve, in order to enter the VidBlaster giveaway contest, you're going to have to produce some video and send it to us. And we'll have more details on that in just a few minutes. So with no further ado, let me bring in my guest for today, Amnon Nissan, Nissan Communications, Mike Phillips, Computers 2K Now. Amnon, as you probably know, is producer of, what is it, Amnon, half a dozen internet TV shows now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're starting a new one tomorrow.
Starting a new one tomorrow. He's the Bill Gates of internet TV. No, I know what he is. He's the Southern Andrew Zarian is what he is. That's what he
that's
is.
more like.
Yeah.
Are you going to take that off of him?
I'll take anything
All right.
from
him. The check is in the mail. And Mike, bless his heart, has spent hours with me and I'm sure countless hours with countless other people helping them diagnose their audio problems and dial in for good audio. And it just, Mike, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the help that you've extended to me. And I know lots of other folks out there are doing much better audio as a result of your work, not just your first generation work of going out and helping them, but the second generation where they in turn help somebody else. And, I don't know how many times I've answered tech questions about audio, and basically I've just whipped out my Mike Phillips notes and said, oh yeah, this is how you do mix minus. Oh, wow, that's cool. That's great. Now tell me again why it works that way. Yeah, well, hold on a second. Let me turn to the next page in the notes. So these guys are well credentialed. Now, for folks that are just joining us for the first couple of times and are not familiar with Computers 2K Now, give us the brief, 90-second history of Computers 2K Now, including where in the world that name came from.
Are you asking me?
Pitching it to both of you.
The show started in 1993 as Computer Town, USA. And as we went on, it was on the radio. And then I think it was in 96 or 97, the station manager wanted to change the name and went to Computers 97. And in 98, it was Computers 98. And he kept on going, 98, 99, Computers 2K1, 2. Toward the end, I think it was 2007 or 2008, I said, you know what? I'm tired of this changing the show every time. So why don't we just do Computers 2K Now? So it falls on whatever. That's where the names came from. And we are doing, it's like Mike says, it's the original Hangout.
Well, and you guys started out as a terrestrial radio show.
Right.
And we're on Sunday mornings, just in a local market. 1993.
1993, it started on Saturday morning from 10 to 10:30. Went from 10:30 to 11. Then on Sunday morning, and then they stretched it.
And then you guys
until
picked
there
up.
were no more users.
Till nobody was listening anymore. But
until
then you guys
was listening, and I said, okay, never mind.
Then you guys went online and started doing
we actually went
simultaneously,
online,
right?
About a year before we went off the air because we saw the writing on the wall.
Right. And was that audio only or audio and video?
No, it was video.
No,
Okay.
they didn't start with audio. They went straight to video, and that's because Spencer Shoemaker, who was one of the co-hosts, was aware of Ustream and decided, wait a minute, we can get a webcam and just do the radio show over the internet, just like Imus and these other guys are doing. So he set up a webcam in the radio studio, and that was the first internet version of Computers 2K Now.
Yep.
And look where you are today. Yeah, that's right. That's right. In a room full, I have never seen so many computers in one room. It is amazing.
And they're not that noisy either.
And they broadcast all over the world to places that don't even have internet. Okay. Very good. Now, how long ago? Now, it's been really, really recently that you guys have started using this call. Now, the call screening stuff, but you've had folks calling in from day one.
Right. The reason for this here is because, as everybody that's here on the chat or everybody listening on a show where you talk about technical stuff, which what we're doing or anything else, it's okay to. The way that Skype does it is like a conference. It's more people can call if you have the right plan, but they're all together. when we got the show with the psyche, she wants to be one-on-one. And in the first show, we did not have this. So what was happening is we would answer one guy or one girl, and she will talk with that person. And if somebody else was calling, I would just hang up on them because there was no way to talk to them and say, please hold on. And you don't want two people coming in at the same time, because a psychic reading is I wouldn't say private because it's obviously on the air, but you want it one-on-one. So that's when Mike started looking out to see what is available. And with BlogTalkRadio, you answer one, they're on the air, and the second one you can actually take off air, talk to them, put them on hold. Something you cannot do with Skype. Am I right, Mike? Is that what it was?
It's the screening room is the real attraction to the BlogTalkRadio interface, and getting started. Yes, I know that when you say BlogTalkRadio, that people immediately hold their nose, and understandably so. If you try to use BlogTalkRadio as your only source for programming your content, I don't get it. It's a telephone line. But then it occurred to me, well, it's okay for a telephone bridge to take telephone calls. If you can take your guests' calls on Skype, whether it's audio or audio and video, much preferred to using a telephone because of the quality and because of the intelligibility of the call. But if the telephone is ubiquitous. There are still many, many people who will participate over telephone who don't even own a computer possibly, or they certainly don't feel comfortable using Skype or don't want to go on camera even. At this point in time, at this point in the world, it's still necessary to have a good telephone bridge. We've investigated many, many options. Now, if this is where you want me to go into the thought process behind using it, Tom, I'll be glad to.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The ideal solution, if someone called up and said, I want to put in the ideal telephone system for my talk show, how would I do that? And I would respond that you need to go to Telos and get one of their telephone hybrid systems. They have I think like the NX6, which is a 6-line telephone system. Probably cost you, I'm making this up because I don't remember, $3,500, $3,600. Then you go back to your studio, you add 4 telephone lines that are in rotary or in a hunt group, as it's called. And what that means is that you give out your telephone number, and when a caller calls on that number, then if that number is busy, then it rings the second number, third number, fourth number. So 1 number, 4 phone lines. The problem with screening in that way is that on most systems, now this may change very soon if it's not already changing, but on most of these telephone systems, if I were screening the calls for Amnon for Computers 2K Now or for one of his other shows, I would be in another room with a telephone set and a computer screen. I would be taking those calls, screening the calls, putting the call on hold, then sending Amnon a text message that says, Tom is on line 1. When he's ready to put that call on the air, he presses the line button for line 1. It goes on the air. That's a simplified solution. It works great using a POTS or copper telephone line. The quality is supreme. The Alliance hybrids use digital signal processing for optimum line quality to compensate for issues in connection with lousy cell phone calls or VoIP calls. The two disadvantages, the primary disadvantage is cost. Where we are, a business telephone line is what, Amnon, $50 a month?
Yeah, about 50 something.
And if you add hunt to that or rollover, is that included now, or is that cost extra?
No, extra.
It costs like $6, $7, $8. So it's expensive. You're going to spend $250 a month to have 4 telephone lines, maybe. Yeah. When you include taxes, FCC fees, that's not attractive. The second part is you have the the other part of that is you have the $3,600 that it takes for the equipment. The second major disadvantage is that you have to be co-located. For most podcasters and internet broadcasters with small studios, with people all over the world working with them, sharing the limelight, it would be nice not to have to sit there and to drive over to go over to the studio. ultimately, it turns out that Blog Talk Radio probably is the best solution. Someone in chat's asking, what's the difference between Blog Talk Radio and TalkShoe? We considered TalkShoe. The primary issue with TalkShoe is that when you dial in, you said TalkShoe, enter your show ID. So you have to enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to get into the show. Unsophisticated callers may or may not know what that number is. They may not write it down. It's a lot of digits. It's not a direct dial into the bridge. We think that is a deal breaker. So we don't want to use it now. Quality-wise, I think TalkShoe is as good or better than Blog Talk Radio. But there's no way to screen. They don't have the screening room. We will demonstrate why we think that's important here in just a few minutes when we get into the demonstration. In essence, Blog Talk Radio, as far as I am concerned, fully solves all the problems. I do, for one of Amnon's shows, I do the call screening from my home. I dial into the bridge, as I am now for this demonstration. I actually do the screening from home. Amnon is sitting here producing the show. When he's ready for the call to go on the air, he already knows that I have talked with the caller and told the caller, first thing I do is, what's your first name? Okay, Donna, be sure to keep your speaker volume turned down on your computer. If you leave it turned up, there will be feedback or an echo. We don't want that to happen. As soon as I put you on hold, you will be able to hear the show coming through your telephone. Keep listening carefully. Whenever the host calls your name, you will be on the air. Did you have any questions? Okay, stand by. Then I put them on hold. When I put them on hold, they can hear the show. Whenever Amnon's ready to put them on the air, he puts them on the air 5 to 10 seconds before he's really ready to talk with them, so that the call has had time to switch and there is not a lag problem, and everything's already ready to go. So once he's ready, okay, let's talk to Donna. Hi, Donna. Hi there. All ready to go. It works extremely well. I'll go ahead and say at this point, one issue that we don't like about Blog Talk Radio is, at least at 8 o'clock on Sunday night, I think their servers are slammed. The interface seems somewhat slow in responding to commands. It will be interesting to see how it works today at a different time of the day. I don't know if that's just a slow interface or whether they're having a server issue, but it's not a big deal. It really is not. We've had pretty good results with the interface. We had one week that people would call up, and as soon as they started talking, the audio was very interrupted. It was very choppy. It's very Borgish. And what I would do is, and this is a great feature of Blog Talk Radio, what I would do is say, all right, I'll call you back. I had their number on caller ID. I would hang up on them. Then I would click on a button, enter their telephone number, call them back. And in every instance, the quality was good. So you've got opportunity to recover from issues if you think about how the system works. All in all, I'd say it works very well. The cost, what is it, $40 a month, I think?
It's $40.
And if you've got multiple shows, you divide it among the shows, the cost is not so bad.
There's only one problem with that, because for the $40, you're limited to 2 hours a day.
So if you have
one show a day.
You get one show per day. So if like Tom, you could share the cost with us, for example, because your show is on Tuesday, and
right.
At this point, Amnon doesn't have a show on Tuesday, and we'll send you our PayPal account number. But it just seems to be working pretty well.
Enough talk. Let's do it.
Well, somebody needs to call in.
Well,
so the number is...
Tell you what, let's
give up the number.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Let's do it this way. I'm going to switch over to the Blog Talk interface, and I'll kind of talk us through this. Now, the screening thing, I'm not sure how that's going to work, so be patient with us, because it's different to do it and not have to capture screens and audio and things like that, but we'll sort of demonstrate it. Now, as you look at your screen, let me point to a couple of things here on the screen that will show you what we're doing. The first thing I'm pointing to up at the top is in this first blue bar here, Tom is dialed into Blog Talk Radio as the host. It says here that he is the host. And he is, this red mic means that he's on the air. That means he's connected to the bridge. such that he can talk to anyone else who might be dialed in and who also has this red microphone clicked. Now, below that is I'm dialed in, and even though I am dialed in as a guest, the guest call-in number is right here. I dial in as the call screener. I dial in the same guest number that anyone dials to call the show, 323-792-3050. And as I dialed in, I'm right here in the call. Now, one of the things that is really nice is that if you can see here that I'm clicking under this telephone number, and an outlined dashed line box appears. When I click on that box, it brings up this field where I can enter information. And what I normally do is I'll type in something like my name with some stars to make it look different. Hit enter. Do not pick up.
That's for me, so I don't pick up on that one.
So that when Amnon is deciding which call to take, then he looks down here. He's not inclined to pick up this call. I mean, when you're in the heat of a show, it makes a lot of sense to do that. Now, if we could get someone to call in, I would like to demonstrate what we will do when we get a call. And I'll go ahead and tell you that when the call rings in, that it will show as being on hold, and that person has to press 1 to show that they want to go on the air. They don't have to, but they normally do. And whenever that call is here, then what I will do is click the screen button. You see that I put the mouse over this third button from the left, and it says screen. That means that I want to take that call into this private screening room, which means that I can talk to the person on hold in the screening room directly without it going out over the air, which is the primary benefit that I see with Blog Talk Radio. Now, there is an added benefit, by the way, that the show is also being broadcast on Blog Talk Radio. It is available in their menu, and the show that we use this for has had quite a few callers,
over 1,000,
come in from the Blog Talk Radio residual audience.
And I don't know why they're not calling now. I was just going to try and see if it's actually working.
Yeah, I mean, so if Amnon will dial into it, if no one else is going to dial into it, Amnon can dial into it. You may hear some echoes and things going on here. You will not hear anything there, Tom, coming back through Blog Talk Radio, because your feed, you have a computer connected to Blog Talk Radio. Your feed is muted because everything we're doing here is behind the scenes. And so it takes a few seconds to dial into the bridge. But now if you notice here is a telephone number that someone has called in. And no, actually, there's Amnon as well calling in. There's a third person calling in. So when it rains, it pours. Now, yes. What I will show here is that if you notice that there are these hold time timers. So this number 352 area code has been on hold for 25, 28, 29, 30 seconds. The 805 number has been on hold for 22 seconds. And it changes every second. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me have the mouse a second so they can see a little bit. Right.
We're going to do a little bit better screen capture here and see if we can give you a... Is that better?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this 352, and as I say, this is the hairy part. We'll have to see how it works. But this 352 number, we're going to talk to this person first, and I'm going to talk to this person off the air. So you might hear my voice, but you're not coming through the microphone here, but you're not going to hear it coming out over the broadcast. So now what I have done is I have clicked this yellow button, and that person hung up.
Okay, good.
So we're going to the next call, this 805 number. I'm going to click on this button to put this caller into the screening room. And sometimes you have to click it twice. There we go. Hi, what's your first name? All right, very good. Stand by. And what I'm going to do here is to, and thank you for being a guinea pig here. So, as you can see, I'm talking to Greg off the stream. He and I are both in the screening room here. And what I'm going to do now is, Tom, if you will look over at your screen, I'm going to set the mouse here and I'm not going to do anything with it. And Tom, what I want you to do is to go into the Blog Talk interface on your host computer and click the dimmed microphone on Greg's call beside the diamond yellow question mark. And when you click on it, now that put him on hold. There you go. Now, when in doing that, you just put him on the air, and he and I are no longer talking to each other because he has come out of the screening room and gone on the air with you.
Very cool. Greg, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, all right. Wow. This is amazing.
Your audio is, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. It's a little choppy, but I don't know if that's an internet thing or what.
Well, you know, it's
okay?
Yes, I can hear you okay. It sounds like you're on a telephone, and you know, I can't tell you how many different audio connections we're passing through to get your voice to me and my voice to you, but no surprise that there's a little staticky.
All right. Now watch this though. While we're here, Greg, if you would hold on, please.
I apologize. I literally cannot understand a word you're saying, so I don't know if you can understand me or not.
We can understand you loud and clear.
And I took my headphones off so I can't listen to what you guys are saying on the show.
Yeah, Tom, he may be having trouble hearing me.
But your audio is just, I can't understand a word you say. I'm sorry to say.
All right, watch this, Tom. Let's suppose that this is in real time. I'm going to put him back I've now put him back into the screening room, and I'm talking directly to him. So, Greg, can you understand me better now? Okay, so the audio is good now whenever we do it this way. So maybe something needs to be checked on the studio end. But you know what? That's the way it happens when you're testing new things. But as you see here now, this 415 call, Greg, we're going to put you back on the air, so just bear with us if you would. I'm going to put Greg back on the air, and I can do it from here. Before, Tom did put him on the air by clicking, but I think I can do it here. Don't make a liar out of me. So I click it here, and now you should be back on the air, Greg. You can see if Greg is there.
Greg, are you there?
I'm here, but your voice is still really bad.
All right. Well, we'll just have to live with that.
I wish I knew why.
Well, Mike, you were saying earlier that you were able to call people back, and that cleared it up sometimes.
No, that was always.
I can always hang up and call back in as well if you need me to.
Actually, Greg sounds better now than he did before.
Yeah.
It was when the caller. Go ahead and hang up, Greg, and call back. Yeah.
He may not be able to understand you.
Go ahead. To show him how to hang up.
All right, I just muted him. I can do that.
Right, that put him on hold. He can still hear the show coming through the telephone. So as he's sitting there on hold, he is listening to what we are saying on his telephone. And probably now, Greg, we're going to put you back on the air and see if you can hear us one more time, because I'm really curious. Greg, can you hear us now? Yeah, he's having an issue hearing us. All right, so if you watch what's going on now, sorry about this, Greg, but appreciate you being a guinea pig for us. But if you watch the interface now, what I'm going to do is we're going to hang up on Greg. He's that kind of guy. So we click this button right here. If you see where the mouse is on the far right-hand side, whenever we click it, right now, he's gone. And we're ready for the next caller. Now, and here's the next caller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer this call into the screening room. Hi there. Can I have your first name? Okay. And what we'll do here is I'm talking with John. So as you watch the interface here, I'm going to type, if I can do this one-handed, to type John name right here, hit enter. And as I type John's name here on the Blog Talk Radio interface, Tom, who is the host, looking at the very same screen, can see John's name just exactly the same way I can. It's identical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put John back on hold. It says mute. I'm going to put John on hold. And as John is on hold, he's listening to me talk. And whenever Tom is ready, Tom can click on the microphone button and put John on the air.
John, are you there?
Yeah, since you put me on hold and came back, it's that staticky noise again. I'm sure you said, John, are you there? But it's real, the audio is not good.
Well, that's okay, because we really aren't interested in listening to you. We're interested in listening to ourselves here most of the time.
Sure.
Just teasing. You know, and actually I'm able to edit the same way Mike is. Noticed I added the from Florida now to John's name, so I can edit the name here on this end. And so it looks like I've got the same control as Mike does. Now, Mike, when you put the call, what did you call it? When you screen the call, where are you hearing these people? Where's their audio coming from, and what are they hearing from you? What are they hearing your computer, or is it telephone?
Now, well, it can be whatever you want, but for this demonstration, I'm dialed in with my cell phone.
Oh, okay. All right.
When I'm doing it for real, I'm using my Skype out number at home through my mixer to dial into the bridge.
But that cell phone now does not play a part in John talking to.
Right.
Yeah, I can hang up my cell phone. It would make no difference whatsoever right now.
Pending further instructions.
I'm sorry, John, say again?
I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying something to you. I'm just holding on right now because I'm not really hearing you very well. But if you need me to do something, let me know.
John, your audio, I think, is actually better than Greg's. It's interesting that would be the case. So, Mike, what you're doing is you're basically screening the call using your cell phone, because that's the 919 number that's also on the screen. And everybody take note of that and remember to call in late tonight, because Mike really loves it when people call in after midnight.
Right. Now I'm glad you said that, Tom, because I want to show you how far behind the times you really are.
At that time, I couldn't make out very well what you were telling me, so sorry. Maybe I'll turn my speaker back on for the computer because I'm not hearing you very well.
That's a good idea.
Well, I did better than that. I just put John back on hold, and he's now hearing the program feed, and he should be able to hear us a lot better now than he was before.
Okay.
Because that shows what we wanted to show. But what I am doing here is I'm actually on my cell phone dialed in through Skype. So that's my public number, and you still don't know my cell phone number. So nice try.
Gee whiz. Okay, well, we've had this question several times. The little caution sign, the yellow diamond with the question mark in front of that. What's that?
What that means is whenever the person calls in to the bridge, it says, if you want to speak to the host, then press 1. And when they press 1, that lights up that little diamond-shaped question mark.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, the reason why is because with Blog Talk, the only way, or the primary way, one of the ways they get out is that people can dial in over their telephone and listen to the show without participating. So if they want to get on the air and talk, they mash the 1 button. That flags the host to tell them they are interested.
Bingo.
We ignore that because if they're dialing in, then they're probably dialing in to go on the air. We're going to screen all the calls anyway. If they don't want to go on the air, they can tell us. If they want to sit on hold, then what I would do, we haven't had it happen yet, but if I had that happen, then what I would do is probably type "do not answer" for the name, and that would mean they're just sitting there listening.
Gotcha.
But there's also one
cool.
other little trick. Amnon can tell you what we do about the telephone number. We like to consistently use the same telephone number.
Yeah, you know how during the show on Sunday we say our number is 919-518-9773, and in order to stay consistent, I would go before the show on Sunday evening when we use it and forward the Skype number, that 518-9773, to that 323 number. So people still call the same phone number for Nissan Communications, but it forwards it into the Skype number, and they don't need to know that number. And I don't need to get used to say, call 323-792-3050.
Right.
And another benefit of doing that is if we decide to heck with Blog Talk, we're going to use TalkShoe, or if we're going to even get our own telephone bridge, or there's a better service out there. There are several that are threatening to compete with this service. We just forward it to that number instead, and the on-air number never changes. To be able to do that, you have to have the Skype dial-in number. And that is when you dial this 919-518-9773, it rings on Skype here at Computers 2K Now. But if you set it up to call forward, it goes to this particular number, which means you could dial either one to get on the show whenever it's on the air.
Mike, in the chat room, several people are commenting about the staticky nature from their aspect of the call, and I think somebody said they tried calling and the number just dropped off. I guess those are the growing pains that you suffer with this kind of new technology.
I don't know that it's that new. I think it's probably been there quite a while. I do know that Blog Talk Radio just updated their website. Whether there are any glitches associated with that, I don't know. Other than that one time we were having problem with about every other call, it's been pretty reliable. You have to very carefully match your send levels to the bridge, because if they're too low, the person can't hear you. If they're too loud, they're going to be blasted to the point that they can't even talk back to you. I mean, you have to be careful with that. So we haven't spent a lot of time setting up this little different system here. This is your first exposure, as far as I know, to Blog Talk Radio. We could be doing something wrong here. It's really not that difficult to get it right once you spend a little time focusing on it. So I wouldn't let that be a deterrent at this point.
Now, yeah, that brings up an interesting question for me, Mike. The audio from this show, the mix that I'm sending you guys to Skype, you're taking that as the show audio, and you're putting it into Blog Talk, because obviously I'm not doing it. How is that working? Where does that go?
I don't think I followed that. Say that one more time.
Where does Blog Talk Radio get the audio?
How does Blog Talk Radio hear Tom right now?
Because he is supposed to be feeding a mix-minus feed to computer 2 that is logged into Blog Talk Radio.
It's your Skype. You're connected, aren't you?
If not, that's why they're not hearing you.
What? Yeah. I mean, the only connection I've got is audio out from...
Wait.
No.
You're Skyped into the host.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yes, you did. You did it.
Yeah, but it just never dawned on me that that's where the audio was coming from. Well, no wonder it's trashy audio. It's probably coming from who knows whatever Skype has got as its audio option. Holy cow. Let's look here. Hold on a second. We'll let everybody follow along, see how jerky I am. Audio settings. The microphone array from the laptop. Golly gee. No wonder it sounded so bad.
You are feeding the audio.
I didn't know I was doing the audio. I thought you guys were doing the audio. I'm not the audio guy. I'm the video guy. Oh, no wonder.
Audio without video is radio. Video without audio is broken.
Yeah, really. Okay. Well, I don't know if I can fix this on the fly.
Well, I'm not sure we need to. And the idea was to demonstrate the interface. other than whenever you're setting it up for a permanent use, or when you really spend the time to set it up, all you do is dial into it like a telephone call. If you were going to put a Skype caller on the air, theoretically, under best circumstances, you would send a mix minus feed to Skype. You would also come back from the Skype speakers into your mixer, and that's how you would put a Skype call on the air. That's how you put this bridge on the air. You Skype into the bridge with exactly the same way as the host, and then you bring the audio back through the Skype speaker, and you send to it through a mix minus into the Blog Talk bridge.
You know, it's a good thing that we're recording this, because I caught about that much of what he said. All right, well, let me play with something here, since we got this new toy. John, are you still there?
Let's see if John's still here. I put him on hold so he could hear us. He might have gone to sleep by now.
I'm still here.
John,
there you go.
Can you hear me any better now that I'm moving my mouth towards the microphone in my laptop?
Well, I can certainly understand what you're saying better than I could, because at first it was hard to even decipher what you were saying. But I hear you better, but it's still staticky.
Still staticky. Okay. I wonder if. All right.
Tom, is that laptop not connected to your mixer?
Yeah, it's connected to the mixer.
So what does it have to do with the microphone?
The little headphone. The little headphone out goes to the input.
But you don't have a mix minus feed going to that computer, do you?
Nobody ever said to take a mix minus feed and put it. No.
Just say no. Look, no. Listen. I think that is as instructive
it's kind
as
of like
anything.
that line noise that you sometimes get over the phone.
Yeah.
I bet it's terrible, John. I'm sorry.
Jeez. No, that's okay.
I'm glad to be able to help a little bit, just by being a guinea pig, if nothing else.
He obviously understands you pretty good, because he's carrying you on the conversation.
But he can't hear us.
John, count your blessings.
He doesn't have a mix minus
every
feed.
Day.
Tom's feeding him on the internal mic. But hey, that's good, because when you're setting up these systems to try to get them to work for you,
I was going to make unreasonable demands like moving your show day and time. At least I could help out this way.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, John, if you go to our YouTube channel Thursday at 1, you can watch the show.
Okay. I think I'm a subscriber. If not, I should be. I'll definitely have to do that.
Okay. It's VidBlaster guy on YouTube, but yeah.
And he can listen, but he'll be on hold a long time. He wants to call in.
Yeah. All right. So the reason that John can't hear you guys is because there's nothing hooked up to the laptop to provide audio to Skype, because he's listening through Skype to Blog Talk to his phone. I mean, little glimmers are coming here, guys.
That is correct.
Yeah, Jeff wants to know how many calls can call in, and
5.
No, I think it's like 50 on Blog Talk.
For the $40. No, that's right. That's right.
It's
5 is the free one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it's either 50 or 250. I mean, it's a lot.
50 connections, yeah.
And what can happen, the other thing, too, that is interesting to note is if we had another caller calling in, we could add that caller as well, and we would both callers would be on. They would be in a conference call, and we would be able to talk with both at one time. Works extremely well. It's one of the best features of the bridge.
But if you want to have just conferences, if you don't care about having one person at a time, then it's much cheaper to get Skype group call. Put a dial in that can take in, I don't know how many at one time, but then you cannot separate them. You can't just put somebody on hold. There's no way to do that.
Okay, gentlemen, as a side note, the chat room has told me that we've gone weird again, and that I'm stretched. Let's see if I can't show it to you, because then it won't be there, because it goes away. But we're gonna cut the live feed for just a second and see if that'll restart with the proper aspect ratio. Interesting that it kind of drops itself and goes weird like that. Appreciate Jan with the input in the chat room, but that should have straightened it out. Okay. So what you guys are saying is that with a call screener, a person anywhere in the world, they can receive these calls the way I have seen Mike do it, and they can talk to the people, and then they can put, I guess, I wonder how much message space you've got.
Not a lot. You only have that one little block there, but that's really all you need. Now there are some other things here that we can't show because the screen share is not set up, and we don't want to set it up. But there is a chat room and some social media stuff on the right-hand side of the screen that we don't use. We don't use that stuff yet, and probably will not. Episode information. There's a chat. I don't know whether that's chat for listeners. It probably is, but we don't use that. We just use that one little description block over on the left side to put in the necessary information.
Can you guys put the, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Mike, on your line, the yellow, yeah, and that says that you're kind of in the screening room, right?
Correct. I'm in the green room.
You're in the green room. How many people can go in the green room at a time?
I have no idea. I don't know why you would need more than one at a time, but there may not be a limit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say more than one besides me.
Now, the thing is, when you think in green room, you think about people who are sitting there waiting to be served.
Right.
That's not what that is. That is the screening room where you talk to.
Oh, you're going to get technical.
Well, I mean, I understand his question. You're wondering how many people can be on hold at the same time.
All right, so now I'm in the green room.
Right. Now you're in the green room. Now you're waiting. You're on hold.
Well, that's at least 50.
Yeah.
Because, again, as I sit here now, and talk, then I should be able to hear the show coming back over my telephone.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, and if he had mixed minus, I would.
Not from here, right. Not. Do you understand, Tom?
Sure.
You understand the difference between the two? Think about telephone. On a telephone, you can put somebody on hold, or you can talk to them, and the red one is when you sort of like transfer them, and like I told you before, you have a receptionist in your office, you are talking to somebody, the receptionist is answering the phone, somebody else is calling for you, she asks who it is, she writes it down, she puts the person on hold, and she lets you know that somebody else is waiting for you. Now it's up to you to click the button to answer that phone and talk to that new person. So you can have as many people on hold, like 50 to that plan, and then when you're ready, you click the microphone and they are on the air. The yellow is only when Mike or when the screener is talking with the caller. That's the only time the yellow is on. It's on all the time on Mike's because he needs to be able to talk to them.
Got it. All right, guys, I'm going to call in.
I think Mike needs to...
Because I want to see if I can get into the green room and talk with John in the green room.
That you calling?
That's me.
Just 1 second. All right,
that's
here
you
we
calling?
Go. So here, if this is you, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put myself back in the screening room. And sometimes you have to click it twice. And then I'm going to answer this call directly into the screening room. So now I should be talking to you offline. So can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you over the phone. And I can actually hear you through my ear set too, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So the audio is good there. And then what I would do, again, is I would get your information. And then I would type it in here. Click the save button. Now what this says is, since your name is here, and I'm going to put you on hold so that you can now, if it ever does it, you can now hear the show coming through on hold. And if you're ready to go on the air, then you as the host would press this live button, and then you would put yourself on the air and probably have a terrific echo.
Yeah, I would definitely. All right, now what happens if you take John off the active and put him in the green room? Can I talk to John?
Let's try that and see.
Oh.
Now, we are all three in the screening room. Can you hear us, John? Yeah, but Tom, are you in the on the call too?
Yes, I'm on the call too.
All right, so there are three of us now. We are all three talking to each other, but not going out on the air, because the air feed is going to be whenever the calls are on this red part here.
Right. So you can group a whole bunch of folks into the screening room, and they can talk amongst themselves.
I don't see why you would do that for a live show, but if you had a reason to do that, yeah. Well, the static is Tom's fault, so don't blame Blog Talk for that. That's Tom's fault.
Yes, the static is John, what you're actually hearing is the built-in microphone on my laptop. Whenever you were hearing the show and hearing me, that's why it was so crappy. Yeah. All right. Cool, man. This is good stuff. Good stuff. This is fascinating. Fascinating stuff. All right. Well, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna put myself on hold, and I guess that's what's on this end. Mike is mute.
Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, it says hold.
Hold time, but this, where it says mute, that's what we call hold.
Yeah, under the hold, wherever you see the hold time.
Now,
yeah,
you
that's the blue one. Yeah.
That's really, for people who are used to key telephone systems, that's really hold, and that means that the caller, you can't talk to them, or they can't talk to you. But if you had hold with music on hold, such that they were able to listen to the show that way, then this is the equivalent of that. It says mute because they are not heard in the room, but we refer to it really as being on hold.
And
at this point, they are hearing the show.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's a one-way street now.
I'm hearing the show, but when I was in the green room, I was not hearing the show.
That is correct. The only thing you would hear is anyone else who was in the, and probably bad terminology to use green room. When they're in the screening room is probably the best terminology, but when the call is being screened, because you get prank callers, you get people who have their monitors turned all the way up. If you go straight to air with them, the first thing out of their mouth would be something you don't want to come out of their mouth. The next thing is they're going to have this loud speaker blaring behind them, or kids playing in the room. And one case, we had to ask a lady to go into a different room because her kids were tearing her living room apart while she was waiting to go on the air. That's the benefit of screening these calls.
So then you get a call that is ready to actually go on the air.
And so, Mike, your number on here is just like any other number that had called in.
Exactly. I'm a guest. I dialed this very same guest number to get into the call.
Right. And then you just logged into the application online.
Yeah, the interface here we logged into just exactly the same way you did, using the same username and password that you used.
Gotcha. Pretty darn amazing, if you ask me.
Not totally trouble-free, but it does work, and it works pretty well. My complaints are that I think their servers are taxed. The audio quality is not the same as a $3,600 telephone system with $250 a month worth of telephone lines, but you're also not paying that either.
Well, I would have liked to have tried this with the proper setup on my end, so that we could have heard, or at least so that we could have heard from a caller standpoint what the caller hears and how clear it is.
Believe me, it is.
It's good.
It has to be better than what I heard. That was pretty awful.
It sounds like a phone, like a telephone, but it is very, there's no problem.
Right. Well, and when we had Greg and John, on the audio part. Here, I didn't have any trouble hearing them. They sounded like they were on a phone, but it wasn't as bad as what I heard here when I dialed in and was trying to listen to the show, because I was just listening through the laptop mic. My bad. Okay, we do this again, we'll get better at it. Plus, anybody that's watching, you guys get the benefit of my mistakes to know if you use a second PC, you better have it. When Amnon said, yeah, Tom, you got to hook it up to your mixer so we can hear. Well, okay, I just hooked up the audio out so that we could hear on the show. I didn't realize we were talking about hearing both
Well,
ways.
it's okay.
I mean, the show is being recorded for later use, and we very easily could stop the recording and fix it. But you know what? Anyone who sets up these systems goes exactly through these same issues, and being able to see it naked, I think, is very instructional and very helpful, and maybe even more so than doing this slick, polished presentation where you don't really see what the issues are and where the problems are and how to troubleshoot them.
Yep.
I mean, if you really want to see how this is working in production, you can go and listen to...
Working well is what he's meaning.
Working well, yeah. You can go to any of the 2 or 3 or 4 latest Carrie Psychic Cafe on Nissan Communications and hear it. Because she gets calls all the time.
I don't know why a psychic needs a call screener. That's just, Anyway.
All right.
All right. Well, this has been illuminating and really a lot of fun.
Likewise.
Really a lot of fun. I'm glad the old folks home cut you guys loose today so y'all could be on the show. That really is a treat for me, and they'll probably want you back for dinner.
I just hung up on you.
That's fine. Go hang up on the whole thing. You can close it because it's done.
Yep, I'll hang up too. Well, folks, that's it. That's Call Screening 101, warts and all, and a lot of fun. And
thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
There we go. The show is over.
Yep.
And I think there are ways to figure this all out and make it work and transfer the entire world onto the internet, complete with call screening. This is good. Now, when you guys have your number on Sunday mornings, that is the Computers 2K Now dial-in number. That's actually a Skype number, isn't it?
Right.
And so you pay a couple, $3 a month for that, something like that?
Yep.
And do you have to pay per minute?
No.
Okay. I was reading in Skype today, and it looked like they said if I took that number and forwarded it to another number that I would have to pay a per minute charge. But
only if you don't have a subscription. If you don't have a subscription, you do incur it.
You know what? No, that's right. Yeah, I do.
It's because you've got that multi-user Skype. Yeah.
I also pay for unlimited U.S. and Canada
Outgoing.
on it, whichever is
Right.
free.
Okay, so $2.99 a month or whatever it is.
It's like $9 a quarter, and then it's $30 a year for the incoming. Between the two, it's a beautiful system. As we all have a love-hate relationship with Skype, but the reality is, for the cost and for the quality, when it works amazingly well.
Absolutely.
Agreed. Very good. Well, gentlemen, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. This really has been a treat for me, and we're just illuminating the rest of the world right here on that VidBlaster guy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't think I got the white balance quite right this morning. I'm a little on the orange side. But I can just say I'm really close to Florida, and we go to the beach a lot. Yeah,
good.
Yeah. But good. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Really. And Computers 2K Now is on Sunday mornings, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern for at least 4 hours. Sometimes it seems like longer than that. And they talk about all sorts of computer stuff, tech stuff, what's going on in the news that revolves around tech, and they get into other subjects too. It's a great community of folks. If you haven't tuned in on Sunday mornings, you need to. And if you miss it live, you can pick it up by going to computers2know.com, and you can watch any of the old shows, or you can download them as a podcast and listen to them too. I do that a lot of times when I'm driving. When I have a 4-hour trip in front of me, what would I rather do but listen to Amnon and Mike and Spence and Steve and all that crowd.
And Mike is an integral part of the show, but really, I mean, Mike also has his own URL. Mike, give it to them.
MikePhillips.me.
Oh, that's
Mike
right.
Phillips.me.
And there's great information there for people who want to learn more about audio.
And if I can help anyone with audio, I'm glad to do it. The best way to reach me is over Twitter. And if you want me to respond, you need to follow me. That's the least you can do.
There you go. There you go. And Mike also produces Rick's House, which is a terrestrial radio and internet radio show on Saturday mornings. What's that, 8 o'clock?
8 until 10 Eastern. And it's kind of neat because what we do is Rick, the host of the show, is at his home in Panama City Beach, Florida. He calls in over Skype to my home where I play the music. I host the telephone calls using Skype to do so. I mean, it takes 5 computers for me to do it on my end. Doesn't have to be 5, but it's convenient with 5. And we then upload that over Mixler to a radio station in Tennessee that then broadcasts it out over the air.
Amazing. Amazing.
If you can hear it, if you want to hear it, all you have to do is go to Mixler, mixlr.com/RigsHouse/showreel. And you will hear the actual feed, warts and all, including all the talk during the breaks and so forth. You'll hear it all by clicking on one of those links. And I got to tell you, it uses our super duper non-ducking Skype duplex system that I wrote an article about and posted at iBroadcastNetwork.org, the IAIB, which we're proudly a member of. And it's an interesting system that allows us to co-host and to have Rick able to talk over the music and to exchange audio with phone callers without all this Skype ducking and fighting and competing for the bandwidth. So if you're interested in that, you might want to take a look at it.
Very good. Very good. All right.
And it's right up your alley, Tom.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Has to do with houses and things that go wrong with houses. I love that kind of stuff. Well, that's great. I'll put the URLs to all these shows in the show notes. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can go to our website, That VidBlaster Guy, and get the other information. And, oh, my goodness. All right, folks. Thanks, guys. We're going to take a break, and after the break, we'll be right back with information on the contest. So stick around. Hi, I'm Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. One of the reasons why I started the show, That VidBlaster Guy, is so that I could show off the power and the ease of use of my favorite software, VidBlaster. Every week, we do a live show that talks all about VidBlaster, and we have guests on that show how they're using VidBlaster and how they couldn't do what they're doing without VidBlaster. Anyway, you know the routine. The other reason why I started the show is because I'm a VidBlaster reseller. I want people, when they buy VidBlaster, to buy it from me. That way you get personal support from me, Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. You get my cell phone number. You get my email address. If you're in a jam and you need an answer, you've got somebody to call. Call me, Tom Sinclair. You can get VidBlaster from my website, thatvidblasterguy.com. There's a store there. Just click on the link and you can get VidBlaster, get a license to VidBlaster. If you need to upgrade, let's say you've got the Home Edition, you want to upgrade to the Pro Edition, you get 100% credit for the Home Edition that you already own towards your purchase of the Pro Edition, but it does have to be handled manually. So shoot me an email, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com, and we'll get that in the works for you. If you need great support for great software, call me, Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. And also, watch us on Tuesdays on the That VidBlaster Guy show. And now we're back. Really appreciate Amnon and Mike coming on the show. They're delightful guys, and I really enjoy knowing them and hanging out with them in all different ways, both virtually and in reality. Now it's information about the VidBlaster giveaway. Really excited about this. Been thinking about it for a long time and trying to figure out what's a great way to have a contest where somebody can win a licensed version of VidBlaster. And so I appreciate the input from Yana Kala. And the idea that I think we're going to settle in on is, in order to enter the contest, you need to produce a video that you have made using VidBlaster. You could do it live, but the chances are we wouldn't be around to see it. But if you can do it in VidBlaster and save it in VidBlaster, don't edit it in anything else, just all VidBlaster. You can download the trial edition from the VidBlaster forum, which is forum.vidblaster.com. Go to the download section and download the latest beta, version 2.33. And in less than 5 minutes, don't want a long one right here, in less than 5 minutes, I want you to do one of two things, and you can do either or both. The first is demonstrate something creative by using VidBlaster, maybe in a way that we haven't seen before, where you're combining the functions of different modules. For example, you may have noticed the triple shot of Amnon, me, and Mike was 4 or 5 different modules all used in sequence to produce that shot. 2 of them were picture-in-picture, and then there was a green screen, and then some screen captures with some Camera One modules, that kind of thing. So see if you can come up with a really ingenious way of displaying something in VidBlaster. The second is, if you've got a really creative idea for a show and you want to kind of kickstart your show by announcing it, send us a less than 5 minute video being made in VidBlaster by VidBlaster and no post-editing, and let us see what your show looks like. Just a little snippet of your show. If you've got a show that you're already doing and you're using VidBlaster for it, and you just want to edit a segment of that down, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. Several of you that are viewers and longtime VidBlaster users, I have already talked to or will be talking to shortly about helping me as judges. And so we will receive these videos throughout the month of February. And at the end of February, and let's see what's the date of our last show there. It would be Tuesday the 26th. Make a note of that day, because Tuesday the 26th we'll be giving away the home edition of VidBlaster. Retails for $195 US. Like $5,000 in Fiji. I'm just teasing. I don't have a clue. The international monetary thing just boggles my mind. But anyway, and how do you send it to us? That's good. You can do one of several things. You can upload it to your YouTube account and send us the link, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com. You can, if you use Vimeo or Bamboozer or other things like that, and you've got one that you want to include, you can just send us the link, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com. If you'd like to send me the video, go ahead and send me an email in advance letting me know that's what you want to do, because we want to make sure that it'll fit inside my email box, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com. So I hope you'll enter. Oh, and you can enter as many times as you want. Hey, there's an idea. Try different things. Maybe some of them will work well and some of them won't. And if you're just starting out with VidBlaster, you'd be amazed how much better you get each time you do it. It's just that way of work, like we did today with that call screening software. The more you use it, the better you get. Anyway, I'm Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster guy. It's been a treat to be with you today. If you're live with us today, hang around for a little while. We're going to have a post show in just a few minutes. And, oh, doggone it, I was supposed to have this really, this cool thing that is the post-roll credits. But I can't find it. Let's see if it'll start right out. Anyway, I guess we'll just have to go out with a logo and some music. So anyway, it's been my treat to have you today. And we hope you'll come back and watch us next week, next Tuesday at 3 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock London time.